I have three people, mental health specialists on here, I was like, they're gonna be way too deep for me. But
Somebody with
hey,
mental health issues.
Good thing is we got personality as well. So we're three personalities with a little side background specialty in mental health. So it's like not all we do.
That's all.
That's right.
all you need to know.
We can chat. We can talk it up.
absolutely. Well, first
Whatever.
of all, everybody, I know we're just now coming on and we're live and everything. Oh, you know what, everybody, let's make sure we're public because I don't need Shonda. That's the Facebook police. He's like, TK, you're not on public. So before I get into everything, let me make sure that it's shared. My privacy is on public. Everybody, are we sharing? If you're listening out there, make sure that you share this link as well. Share with all of your friends and everybody on Facebook. So,
Your
um,
privacy on public did not sound good.
you know what, Shonda, don't start. You ain't even supposed to be on here today. So
My
don't
privacy on public.
wait. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Wait, I was wondering why everybody was shaking their head when I looked up.
Because I was laughing your privacy.
Brian, can you do me a favor? Can you be on comments tonight?
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. Yeah, I'm on comments.
Okay, perfect. You can bring them in as you want to. Say them if you want to.
Thank you,
Because my hands
Gloria.
are.
I'm all over it.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, since my private is public, or is it my public private, or one or the other. But anyways,
Stop.
just,
Stop.
just stop it. Just okay, we just gonna stop it right now. This is how we gonna stop it. Okay? Beat go hard every week, as if I don't hear it every week, but still, it's great. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Talk Miami podcast and talk show. I'm your girl, TK Owens. We have an amazing show lined up for you tonight. We're actually going to get into some much needed conversations tonight and some difficult conversations, but that's what we're here for. We have the platform to talk about it, and we also want to hear from you. But before we jump into those topics, we have a lot of people joining us tonight. So let's go around the room, starting with someone who has the number 99 in the background. Who's that?
Oh, it's me.
God.
So I have the number 99 in the background tonight because I will be interviewed in about 15-20 minutes regarding my wonderful, lovely son that looks like me, Elijah Roberts, on I think it's I think it's called the Average Kane Fan Show. Just want to talk about him since the season is coming up and what he's doing. So I'll be gone in a few minutes, but I wanted to come on just because I miss y'all. I cannot not show my face on Top Miami. I'm glad to be back. I was out in the streets this weekend, being a real wife of Miami or whatever, living my best life. I got sick. My allergies acted up, but I'm feeling much better today, and I'm glad to be back.
Woohoo!
I'll pass it down.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass it down to Men of Courage, Damon, honey. He's in the building.
Good evening. Good evening. It's always a pleasure coming on you guys' show. I thank you, TK, for reaching out again, for making me be a part of this. I love you guys. I support you. Hey, I'm very excited about this evening topics. I'm very excited.
Awesome. Who do you want to pass it to?
Let's go to Ryan.
Look, man to man. You know what?
I like it. I like the start. It's a good start. I appreciate it. Just like Damon, it's always a pleasure to be back with you all, sharing the forum with all of you and with our special guest this evening. I am Ryan David, aka Professor AB, personal leadership, holistic lifestyle coach, psychology professor, and I will drop it down to the doctor on hand tonight, Dr. Venus Miller. That is, talk to us. Who are you? Thank you for joining us once again.
All right, all my lovely family. I am the one and the only Dr.
Yes.
Denise Miller. I'm a family and psychiatric nurse practitioner. I wear many hats, but the best hat I say I must wear is just being me and coming to you mentally and psychologically and physically and emotionally and just being the real me. So I welcome everyone that's on tonight and I thank God for the team. And you know how they say the first should be last, but the last should be first. You know, they say the best for last.
Ooh, did you see it? Women, listen, the men are outweighed at this moment. So
Oh,
one time for the girls. Hot girl summer. All right. Yeah.
Dr. Venus,
yeah.
you have that beautiful, sexy, sultry voice, but just speak up a little bit so the people can hear
Okay, you
you.
want me to? Am I low? Am I low? Am I
Yeah,
low?
you can turn your volume up probably if you have any
Turn my
volume.
volume up. Maybe I'm low.
Yes. Did
Okay.
you hear her? That was her after 11 o'clock voice.
You want me after another voice?
Depends what y'all want, because I can give you what you want.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Perfection in this piece.
Well, guys, let's just jump right into it, especially because I do want Shonda to be a part of this first topic. Now, before I even tell you, which if you follow us on social media, which you better, I hope you do, right? At Talk Miami Talk Show on Instagram and on Facebook and Twitter. But you probably would have seen the topics. But before I even go into topic number one, let me make sure that before we talk about parents, I want to give a disclaimer that I'm not talking to the parents that are good parents who take care of the responsibilities. This is not for you. This is if you've ever been in a situation that it's the struggle of co-parenting, as you will, or what happens. Let's just jump right into it. Topic number one: is it a double standard when it comes to parent responsibilities when the relationship or the marriage is over? Okay, let me back up to even tell you tonight is the battle of the sexes. But that's why we have two men being outweighed by three women. So women, we might win tonight. But with this is moms versus dads. And I want to ask the question again because I want you to think deep into the conversation. What is a double standard? Okay. When it comes to parent responsibilities, we know what that is. The moment that you have children, it comes a responsibility to raise them. Okay. That could be financially, mentally, physically being there for the child. But when that relationship or marriage ends, because it's kind of probably easy and not even easy when you have a family in one household, but it's still a struggle. But you can imagine the struggle when they are now separated. But I bring this question up because why is it? First of all, let's even answer the first question. I want to go around the room. Tell me, do you think it's a double standard when it comes to those responsibilities, meaning the dad versus the mom? And do you need me to break that down or do you guys got it?
I think I understand.
Okay.
So I'm gonna answer first,
Okay.
just in case I have to leave quick. Um, am, I'm going to speak on my situation because the sperm donor who contributed
No,
to
she did.
my child being here decided to not participate emotionally, financially, or physically after we split up, right? And I did not have that luxury of saying, I don't want to do nothing today. I didn't have that luxury of saying I'm not going to feed this child today. I had to keep going, whether we were together or not. Sean had to be taken care of, regardless of what. I do feel there may be a double standard on whomever is left with the children. So I don't know, it could be a mom in a situation, but I've seen single dads and I've seen moms leave their children with the dads. So I believe it is a double standard. Sometimes there are some people who still are there, are in their kids' lives, whether they're separated or not. They're still going every day. They're still picking them up from school. They're still making sure they're good. They're still doing that, and kudos to them. But a majority of them, or whoever, like I said, not man or woman, whoever has a child, doesn't have a child. Let's say custodial or non-custodial parent. Whoever is the non-custodial parent, sometimes they just let slack off because it's not in their face every day. They're not coming home every day to mommy. Mommy, I cannot do this. Mommy, this happened today. They're only there when they get a text message, hey, I need you to do this for the kids, or can you pick the kids up? So on and so forth. So I believe it is a double standard for whoever does not have the child, for the non-custodial parent.
Well, I
I think
understand.
you're right.
You're right, but I guess what I'm really going to fall into is let's talk about stats and facts.
Okay.
Majority, and like I said, there are some good fathers out there. Trust me, my husband is one of them.
And
Sean
mine
is,
is
Damon,
definitely-
exactly. There are some great fathers out there, but let's keep it real. It's more common
yeah.
for the man to leave and
Yeah.
stop taking care of the child. Why do you think the majority of all the weight falls on the mother, Damon?
Well, first of all, I believe because the way society has been set up for so
Mm,
many years, 9 times out of 10, the kids go to the mother. So let's start there. 9 times out of 10, the kids are placed with the mother when there's a separation, when there's a divorce. Um,
so that's court law or from
that's
state
for
to
law.
state.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel as though I agree with Shonda as far as the double standard. Sometimes, yes, I do agree in that situation. But at the end of the day, I feel as though that a father can raise kids as well.
That's right.
I've been there. I had to do that, and my kids were 3 and 9, so I've been down that road. And my take on it is from a personal experiences with my 2 daughters, and also from a professional standpoint, what I see, what type of clients that I see on a regular basis who going through separation, going through divorce. So I tell these men, I tell the women, get in. I hate getting the court system involved. I really, really
Yeah.
do. If you can handle it
If you
yourself,
can work it out.
work it out. Keep the course out of your business if you can. If you cannot, hey, work on some type of co-parenting.
Yeah.
Okay. I
It's
hope
it's hard.
I'm sorry.
Venus, how
Yeah.
do you think it's a double standard that the man do you think men just leave because they know the woman is going to take care of the family?
I'm gonna have to agree on two different avenues.
Okay.
Yes, as we do, if you think about the male and the female and what society says we bring, even from a little child, you begin to say, okay, the man is the protector and the woman is the one who does the house. It's kind of way we groomed them from the beginning. When it happens and we have that break, so to speak, that parent a lot of times steps still into that role. If what I want to talk about really is the double standard comes when you have a wounded person and they bring those
Mm,
wounds, and then that's when you get into that individual, that problem, I believe, because a true mom and a true dad, they're always going to love their child. But when there's animosity between the two parents, it is the parent's job or maturity. And I have not always been at that place. I don't know about you, not to take the pain with you and then raise your child. So the double standard comes, I agree with Shonda, it can be the male or the female, how they're raising, what's presenting mature and immaturely with that child. But I think standard wise, there's typical the male who's the protector, and it's typical the woman to nurture. And when the male
mm,
does not step into that part, the woman is still the nurturer, and you have male things you will do, but you'll never be a man. Vice versa is the same thing. We sometimes have to step into a role and we get confused because we're
mm,
in that role. So it's almost a double standard answer because it really has to do with a complexity. And I know Mr. Ryan knows what I'm talking about when I say the complexity of a situation. Typically, if you have two mature people, then two mature people break up and they still the focus is the child, right? The double
mhm,
standard comes, oh, you're not the man, you're not taking care of the child, you're not the woman nurturing the
mm.
child because you're all calling your daddy name and the man is doing whatever. That's when I think that standard comes. And when you don't do, your male part, then you're not a good dad. But being a good dad is not being a male part. Being a good dad is a presentation. Being a good mom is the nurturer. We lose that because nurturing does not mean you talk bad, good, or indifferent about the dad. Nurturing means that you protect your child from harm, even the harm that you're feeling. We protect you from it, and the male becomes the protector. And when that protection is taken away, and if the woman's hurt enough, she steps in a male role, and that's when we have a double standard, in my little opinion.
Wow. Well, speaking of all those roles that you just named, Ryan, I would throw this question at you. Do you think we have a role to play, both a mother and a father? Or is it shared responsibility?
Well, it's both. It's absolute answer to that is we absolutely each have our own roles. And then we also have responsibilities that are universally shared. But I want to go back to the other question.
Okay.
I want to preface the other question and actually tonight's conversation. I want to preface it with this statement, which is I come from the school of thought that any conversation that's a versus or an either or when it comes to men or women, and I know you were having fun and you were being playful with the battle of the sexes tonight, but I come from the school of thought that at any time you have man versus woman, dad versus mom, if everybody don't win, everybody loses. There's no situation where mom can win and dad can lose. It's a lose-lose for everyone, no matter what. Relationships, just as a general principle, are not a competition. It's not a sport. If anybody on your team loses, and even after a divorce, if you have a child together, you still are a team. So you might think your relationship's over, but your responsibility as a parent is still there. So if anybody loses, there's no verses. I come from that school of thought, first of all. So anything I talk about tonight, which is verses, might be playful, but I think a lot about, I'm not married. I don't have children. But for 43 years, as long as I can have been paying attention and been thinking about it, I've thought a lot about family and community and the roles that family plays with children and the influence on kids. So I've thought a lot about it and I've witnessed a lot, thankfully, in my position. But I come from the school of thought, just to preface tonight's conversation, of if anybody loses, everybody loses. That being said, the standard situation, I don't know that there's a double standard as much as there is a different standard. There's a different standard. But I want to go back for a second to just entertain the conversation in it from a different angle. I want to go back, and we're talking about children, obviously, after they're born, and there's a divorce in a relationship, and there's a lot of focus on what happens responsibility-wise when the relationship or the marriage is over, as far as who takes care of the kids. But I want to go back before all of that, before the relationship, before the kids were born, and I want to talk about the different responsibilities that men and women have just by default. I think that, and I'll try not to be long-winded with this, but this is probably my overall point of where I'm coming from, at least. I think that for whatever reason, in at least Western society and Western culture, for some reason, we have failed to look at the ability to carry a child and give birth as a weakness and not as a superpower. So we talk a lot about power and responsibilities. Well, it's a female superpower to be able to give birth. And I think that when it comes to children, we have to really look at what that ability of a woman is and what she has that is different than a man, and that is to carry a child and give birth to a child. And we know this as adults before we actually have intercourse. So what we know is that the outcome of this act could potentially be the woman is going to carry and be responsible for the child in her and responsible for giving birth to it. So the thing about how we work in terms of nature and how we're designed is after intercourse, the male can disappear. The after results of that, the only person that will be left at that point with the I wouldn't say responsibilities, but with the results, the pregnancy will be the woman. So by default, there's a responsibility that nature has instilled in females. And there's nothing they can do about that. Now, what has happened is some men have failed to respect and appreciate and admire that ability. That ability. And now in 2022, there's some women that have lost sight of how much of a superpower that is. And they don't appreciate that either. So I think that we're really at a conundrum here. We talk about marriage and relationships and kids, but we got to go back a step before we actually start getting pregnant and start thinking about, hey, how does this work out? It's not equal. It's not fair. It's nature. So I don't know. I don't know if all that makes sense, but that's really my take on this responsibility concept. We can talk about afterwards the responsibility that we need to decide to have, men and women, for the children after they're born. But you talk about standards at that point, there is a different standard because of the one I think I mentioned that nature really hands us both. And I think Damon hit on something that was excellent, which is you want to find double standards. The court system is full of double standards, and they may have had good intentions, but they're there. So there's a lot to unpack. That's really my on that first.
Ryan, you can't come in here.
Ryan ain't gonna play with y'all tonight.
You can't come in here and just do this. Now,
that's something I'm real passionate about, TK. That concept of how we're designed, and it's not a weakness, it's a strength, but it's a different one for each of us. I'm real big on complementary. Absolutely. And the second topic you have is going to bring us to another conversation that's even similar.
I'm actually going to talk about that in the second topic. But before we leave, Shonda, can I play a video, or did you want to say something to that? Go ahead.
I was going to say bye, but go ahead first.
Okay, let's play this video and then you can go, unless you have to go, because you let me know if you got to go.
I got 1 minute. Go ahead, boo.
All right. So, guys, the reason why I brought this question up, because I saw a video that was out on Instagram about a mother who gave up her children, who just said, I don't want to be a mother anymore.
Ooh.
Let's hear her thoughts, and then I have questions about this. Here we go.
I just decided that I don't want to have kids.
Excuse me?
I don't want to have kids.
Yeah, well, you already had them, so they're yours. Your sister is raising them. Don't you think you should want to get them back? Or you don't want kids at all? You don't want the responsibility, anything?
No, I just don't want to have kids anymore.
Boy, let me tell you something. Shonda, I know you gotta go, Shonda, but I want to speak on that video. I know that was
Listen,
All I
Shonda.
gotta say is beat me up, Scotty. This world is just too much for me.
Let me go with
Have a redo. Jesus, let's start over. Because this ain't what's going on.
So, but wait, before, think about this, guys. You heard the words that were coming out of her mouth. First, I want to hear your first reaction. Listeners, I also want to hear from you. Do you think what she just said is a selfish act that needs to be commended? Or has she lost her mind? We just don't choose to give our kids back because it's getting hard. So which way did you see it? Because I have so many thoughts about it. But before I give my feedback, what are your thoughts when you first hear that a mother does not want her children or the responsibilities?
I have a couple. I'm going to say it real quick. I told people I'll be on 820. One is, when someone just posted in the chat, I respect her truth. I respect that she won't keep her kids to neglect them.
anonymous user.
Right. or won't neglect them. However, you as a mother, you took responsibility when you decided to have them. You can't just say, I quit. And I get it, Mama, because there are plenty of days I want to just drive off and leave them there. But then I come back to reality. These are my babies. They were born from my womb. And I cannot be in this world and not know where they are, how they're doing, what they're eating, how they're feeling. You take 10 minutes, you breathe, you come back to reality, and you continue being the mother. You can't just say, go away, I'm done with you. Even with my 24-year-old, I will forever be his mama and be in his life and be on this earth to guide him. I got to go, but I'm promising I'm going to come back. I love y'all.
Yes. Everybody, Shonda
right,
has to
Shonda.
leave to go to another interview, but she'll be back in just a minute. Guys, when I first saw that video, at first I was upset because I am a mother. And I just can't even imagine, just because life gets hard, baby. My grandma told me, baby, keep on living. You can't hide from challenges and obstacles in this world. You got to go through them. So because times are hard, I just give up on my children. But then when I really thought about it, and, someone said this, and of course, it's the Facebook user. We would love to know who you are. She's a woman. She may not be able to be a mother. So Damon, no, I'm going to come back to you because I have a specific question mentally that I want to ask you. So let's see. Let me ask this.
I need to answer that question.
I want to ask this to Dr. Miller.
Yeah.
I want you to answer that question because you are a woman. Me and you are both mothers.
That's a loaded question.
Is it commendable that she's saying, I just can't take care of them to give them the life that they need? So I'd rather give them to my sister. Or is she giving up on life?
It's a loaded question, but let me break it down for you. Number one, if someone tells you they cannot care for their child, it does not mean they're a bad mom. If someone is telling you they don't have that ability, I want us to understand that everyone is raised differently. And I'm not here or there with it, but I work in a place where these women have totally misused and abused their children while reaching out for help. It is not an excuse, but I also don't pass a judgment or jury on it, because remember what your grandma told you, what my grandma told me. Everybody don't have no grandma, everybody got no mama, and some people's base, the core of them, is already broken. When we lay down and have sex, we ain't thinking about no baby most of the time.
Yes.
Most of the time the brother just can't pull out, or is that good?
And that's where we can have a whole other conversation about other problems in the first place.
Right.
All
So
over.
that's what I'm talking
Before
about.
they get pregnant.
Right. The base of it. I don't want us to base a mother saying, I heard the judge say, but it's too late. It's never too late. It's a double-edged sword to put a mother with a child. Not that she don't want the child, but she doesn't have the mental, emotional, physical, financial strength to handle that child. I prefer that the child does live with the mom. It is not optimum, but it ain't optimum for the child to be abused either. If someone is coming to tell you, and I'm coming from another perspective here, because I personally as a mother have my own, but I personally as a mother want to give them away still. But I
You and I
have
both.
grounded and roots in things. But that took grooming. That took time. That took me crying. That took me wanting to do it. But if someone is, this is the problem we have too. If someone come and tell you I'm depressed, and you tell them they not, you are already an issue. If someone come and tell you I'm from the school of thought, I believe that, that's good, you believe it, but that doesn't mean that person believes it. You have to start at the grassroots with a person, because I don't care what you tell them, I don't care how many coats I wore, if mentally they are not there, emotionally they can't connect, and they are hurt already, then I would work with her to show her how to do those tools. But I don't think I feel safe with a mother telling me I can't do it. Now, there are mothers that are lazy. There are people that use the system. There are people that use
Right.
drugs. And I don't know her full story. That's too small of a clip for me to make that answer.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
am now more educated, more mature. I have more wisdom, not just as a woman of God, as a woman, not just not to judge, but not to put what I think should be on a woman. I haven't lived her life. So yes, it is optimum for raise our children. It is optimum for us to do this. And we're living in a broken society. When are we going to deal with the issue of the issue and then judge it later? So you want me to give her back the child and she harm the child? So I'm not in that frame of mind when I'm doing things. My thoughts right now are really, why is that mother? It's breaking down that woman. When a woman will say that to me, I will say, yeah, you hold the child for a minute, auntie. Let me talk to her about the root. Until you get to the root, you ain't getting to nothing. So yes, we can have a lot of comments about what we like and what we don't like. But are
So
we really dealing with it, or are we not? Because we're not. If someone telling me, oh, she's just a bad mom, or she wasn't taught well, that ain't necessarily so. There is mental illness, there's struggle and trauma that mother knows that she can't care for the child. So
and I guess
multiple
because right
levels.
when I guess because she was in front of the judge, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. She actually just said, I don't want to.
But still,
She had every moment to probably say, I'm not fit, I can't financially
but
take
she
care of
can't
them.
say it, TK. She can't say
Ooh,
those
okay.
words that you want her to say. Some people, this I can't do it could mean I don't even know what to say. I can't do it could mean they annoy me. I can't do it mean I'm going to abuse them. I can't do it mean so many things. So yeah, she was in front of the judge, and yeah, we are positioned to say things, and I have been trained to say things, learned to say things, know what not to say. But everybody, it just don't come off like
Okay.
this. That's what
I
we miss it.
respect that.
So I agree with you that broke my heart hearing it, but it break my heart more to give that baby to that mother and something happened. That would break me more. And then
I got
all
you.
you do instead of dealing with the issue is cause that issue to repeat itself in that child. No child don't want to feel like they not wanted. You don't think that child know that? What kind of child would
Yeah,
that
that's
be?
the detriment there. Can I
So I
jump
want
So
in?
to let Ryan
well, actually, I have a
or
question
Damon.
for Damon Ryan that specifically to what Dr. Miller just said. And then I have a question for you, Ryan. Damon, from a mental standpoint, Dr. Miller just said, I can imagine what it does to the children. So, yes, we hear that the mother is saying that I'm not capable of taking care of them. But what does it do to the child mentally and psychologically that they feel abandoned by their mother? Or how do they look at it? Or
Um,
is it how they're told that maybe she wants a better life for them?
and I agree. I'm gonna go back with Dr. Miller said. That was a short clip. We can have our own personal, we can have our professional opinion how we feel about it. But the first thing when I hear something like this, of course, everybody goes, yo, she did it. I'm not a judgmental person, especially because of what I do every day. I can't be judgmental. I got to keep my professional hat on at all times, the best of my ability. But at the end of the day, when and if a child hears that, that can be traumatizing for a child.
Yeah.
My mother don't want me anymore.
Mm.
She's given up on me. What have I done? She don't love me. Am I a bad child? So we got to be very careful how we navigate through this. When she was in court and she said this, I hope and pray that her kids have never heard her say this. That's something a child can definitely go off the deep end on.
Right.
I mean, neglected. I mean, unwanted. I mean, it's all those components come into play as a child. When they hear stuff like this, they can be in their back room and hear a mom talking on the phone to her best friends. I'm about tired of these darn kids and yada. I mean, that's hurtful. And this was on a higher magnitude, which she articulated to the judge. So this is some serious stuff. And then the other thing came to my mind, my mental health kicked in. As far as first thing I would do is I would request a mental eval on her.
Postpartum is where I was gonna go.
Right. How
I
long?
don't know how old these kids are, but yeah.
How long has she been?
I'll come back to you, Ryan. I want to hear more about that. Go ahead, Damon.
Did it just come about? How long she's been dealing with this? Why? How did she get to this point? All that is very important. Go ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead, Ryan. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in the beginning because I was gonna ask actually what Damon and Dr. Miller especially thought about the potential, the possibility of this being a postpartum situation. I don't know how old the kids are, and like Dr. Venus Miller said, I don't know what the context is. I don't know how old the kids are. I don't know anything except for what we saw. But you asked what our first thought was, TK. I don't remember what my first thought was because I probably had 37 of them. But where I settled after a few seconds and where I stayed was, I wonder where this lady is in terms of her emotions and her mental health. And postpartum is not an excuse, but it's an explanation for a lot of behaviors that women can struggle with. And so I thought about that, wondered what you guys thought about that. And then just to go back to what Damon was talking about, we know how detrimental and how traumatic it is for children and how they suffer, little boys and little girls, with an absent father and the thought that their dad doesn't want them because they're not around. Now, that's just the actions speak volumes.
Amen.
That's not dad saying,
Ryan.
that's not dad saying, I don't want you. This is like next level. And it's mom. And I'm not trying to say in terms of double standards, it is mom, the one that carried me and the one that birthed me. And so we're not talking about a woman who's saying, I don't want to have this child. I want an abortion, which that's a whole nother conversation. And can be this is a woman who had the children, carried the children, had the children, and potentially raised them for a while, and then just decided. So it's I don't know the details, but I have a lot of questions, not from a judgmental, you're a bad person standpoint, but from a judgmental in terms of we need to figure out what's going on here so we can decide what's best for everybody. Because right now, that's messy and very dangerous for everybody involved. Mom, if it gets too overwhelming and she doesn't get some help with her kids, could kill herself. The kids, if they stay there, they could get killed. Like it's not good. And this is what the red flag should be. Now, the judge is a judge. She's not a mental health professional. So her response was probably actually fits par for the course in terms of like whatever was going on there. I just wondered what her mental health was, the mom. But I did think about how this was a little bit next level. We're not talking about a woman who said, I don't want to have these children. I want to have an abortion. We're talking about mom who said, I just don't want the kids I have anymore.
Right.
And after they've been in your body, you've carried them, you've birthed them, and potentially risked your life to have them, which no dad has ever done and never going to be able to do or experience. To feel like you don't want them anymore, I question where she's at. And that's what I mean in that sense. And I think that's what Dr. Venus Miller was talking about, where what's going on with her to get, that's not, and I think we could all agree, although that might be understandable for her, that's not normal for a woman to just up and decide.
No.
And that's not an insult. That's just, I think we can call that what it is.
Ryan, I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm going to have that difficult conversation. We just going to say it. I'm glad you as a man said it instead of coming from me as a woman, it's not the norm for a mother to give up on their kids.
No.
Fathers walk away all the time. And we wish as mothers, like Venus and I said, I wish I could just say one day when it got hard for me that I don't want these kids no more and just drop them off at their daddy house. I wish
or left as soon as she found out they found out she was pregnant. That too. Now let's not normalize that either. Let's not normalize dads leaving when they want either.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. But then and I'm gonna be honest, and we could be on this topic all night, and we have another topic to talk about. But I'll close this topic with this. I don't know if you guys were just like me, but when I first saw it, my feelings as a woman, I got connected with my emotions. And I was mad. I was like, how dare she? But then there's that mental part that makes me start thinking that maybe I started, and I believe that's why I brought this up as a topic. I said, guys, how we look at this, everything is built on our perception, right?
That's the empathy kicking in for you, TK, by the way.
I'm a woman. I'm so empathetic.
The first response was a selfish, emotional, oh my God, how did I feel about that? Then it was, wait a second, what's going on with their emotions, their mentality?
Thank you, Ryan. You guys are so smart. I love you having you guys have that knowledge to help me out through this. And then it became, what if this is the best interest for the kids? that she just cannot offer them the life that they deserve, but her sister can. And then it was that other side of me going, I got to get Damon and Venus on here, because what about the children?
Yeah.
I just went on and on and on. Because
It's,
I was
it's
like,
like I told you, it's multi-level, and what my heart went out to,
Right.
she needs help, and maybe and not allowing her to give up her children, saying, okay, this can be temporary, but let me help you, and let's help you in that place. How do I get you back to your children? Because they need you. That's how I talk to them. What they gonna do
yeah,
without you? But not belittling her, supporting her, and encouraging her, because it really is your responsibility. So what makes you feel like it's not, and are you overwhelmed? Can we help you? So there's things we can pile on, because the truth is, it is not a normal response, but it can be normal for her, or the only way she know how to turn
Yeah.
without the help.
yeah. And with that, I will respect that, guys. Thank you so much for your input. Listeners, if you're out there listening, trust me, we actually are so blessed to have three professionals on our podcast that can help you when it comes to mental health. We have our men, Ryan, David, and Damon, there to help you guys. Reach out to us. Before we leave tonight, I'll make sure they share their contact information, and I'll go ahead and go ahead and just let everybody know this lovely lady, Dr. Venice Miller, is my own therapist. So, honey, TK, even when the person that empowers everyone else needs help, listen, who do we turn to? I need somebody to even talk to. And so, guys, we're here to help you. I want to continue to use this platform to help other people. So feel free to reach out to us. But now that we said that, it is time for us to have some real talk with Mr. Ryan David. And before, I just can't mention him as Ryan David. I really have to mention him as the birthday boy. Everybody clap up. Let's all wish Ryan a happy birthday. Yes. Happy birthday to you. See, I can't sing. Shonda and Cindy not here, Ryan. You ain't gonna get no singing out of me. But
No, it's good.
everybody in the comments, please send Ryan some love. Wish him happy birthday. Ryan, I'm going to turn this over to you. Let's have some real talk in between topic number 1 and topic number 2. What do you want to share with them?
Yeah, thank you, TK. Thank you for that. And before I drop a little real talk on you all, I just wanted to thank you to everybody in the comments. And some of you all in the comments, you slid over onto IG and you commented under my picture and you wish me happy birthday. So thank you very much, everybody in the comments. I appreciate it. Birthday week was good. Birthday month been good so far. So yeah, turned 43 yesterday. Feels just like 42 so far. We'll see how that lasts. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. TK. Thank you. Real talk today. I bounce around on what I'm going to talk to you about, and I have a list of things I go over on what I should bring into it. And there were a couple ideas I had that were really relevant to tonight's conversation, but I figured we'd get into that enough in the topic conversation. So it just hit me this morning. I was on the treadmill. I was running, warming up, getting ready to lift some weights. And as I was running, I was listening to something, and this idea kind of just stuck with me, and I wanted to share it with you all. It's more of a thought experiment and an idea, but it is a realization that I had that kind of applies to my life. I want to give it to you, see if you can apply it. And real talk tonight, the conversation is really about the word work, and I'm real big on word substitution. And so if a word is not serving you, find a substitute that does. And so I teach my students the word problem. You're not going to find it in my vocabulary because it's loaded. It has a negative connotation to it. If you say problem right away, if you have a problem, your body responds, your nervous system responds to that in a negative sense, and you're not in a positive state to handle the problem. So word substitution is big. And so work can be one of those words that's negatively weighted. Work, that's work. That's a lot of work. That's work. I want you to start thinking about the word work. Instead of work, I want you to start thinking about it as an investment. Whatever you're doing that you consider to be work, it needs to be and it should be an investment. Sure, it's still work, but if you think about it as an investment, that means that what you're doing is for something else greater down the road, which gives you more meaning in what you're doing. And you don't just feel like it's something tedious you have to get done with. At any time you think about work on your body, work on your health, work on your relationships, work on your money, work at work, whatever you're doing, investing in your craft. If it's work, it should be some sort of an investment in something better in the future. And so start thinking about work as you look at it as an investment, not at work, even as work, even though it's going to be work. And if you start to work on something and you can't find or can't figure out what the investment is, you really need to take a good look at what you're doing, because you might not need to be doing that right there or whatever that work is. So the work should give you an idea of what you're working towards and what this should be dedicated to. So just start thinking about work, especially work in your relationship, things that you're doing that seem hard right now. You should be able to find what that value is going to be later of doing the work now. And then you focus on the later now so you get through the right now, because we get so overwhelmed with the right now, with the work right now, with the running on the treadmill right now, with the lifting the weight right now, with the dieting or the lifestyle change right now, with the extra hours at work right now, with sitting down with your partner and working on understandings right now. That's all work, but it's all an investment to make something else better and greater down the road. So start looking at work as an investment. And if you can't find something you're investing in that work, question what that is that you're doing and maybe stop or change whatever that work is. Because if it's work towards a dead end or nothing towards the future, it's not an investment. Maybe that's a waste of your time. So real talk tonight, just think about how you use the word work, how you think about work, and maybe shift over to thinking about anything you're working on as more of an investment instead of just work.
Ooh. Ryan, you just can't come. Did this is what happened when you come into 43. You know them 40s. Listen, people, you don't start living it till you hit your 40s. Okay.
My mom said it, man. Life happens in your 30s and you take off in your 40s.
Yes. Thank you, Ryan, so
You're
much.
welcome.
You're always dropping us some gems, and we really, really appreciate that. And happy birthday once again. So many comments of everybody wishing you happy birthday. So
Thank you.
speaking of that, we have another birthday on here. So wait, are you guys, so who's the Leo and the
I'm a Leo. She's a Cancer, right?
She's the Cancer. So there was a cutoff.
You should have known she was the Cancer.
Right then. Yeah, she's there. She's there.
Dr. Venus, let's also wish her a happy birthday, everybody. She celebrated her birthday on the 21st, correct? So happy birthday to you. So we have the Cancers and the Leos in the house. One of my good friends, Julie, she is a Leo, and my best friend, Ponga. I know she's watching. Ryan, you met Ponga Moody. Her birthday is coming up. All right, one time for the Leos. It's
where Miss Moody been, man? Where Miss Moody been? Shout out to the Leos.
I saw her say hello, so I know she's here.
All right, yeah. Shout out to the Cancers too, man. Water signs. I got love for y'all.
Absolutely. So, guys, let's just go right into topic number 2. And yes, Ryan, you are absolutely right. Tonight was about fun and games when I say versus, but you are completely right. At the end of the day, someone loses. And when it comes to parents not taking care of their responsibilities, the real losers are the children. Okay. So let's move into battle of the sexes again, because this is a deep. You guys, I really want you to think deep, because pay attention to the question. Because I know I actually asked Shonda this question before the show tonight, just to see what she's going to say. And that's what I want to know, just based on the question. And I also want to hear from you, audience. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Do you think a woman can do everything that a man can? Okay, let's go around the room before we break it down. I want to go to the women. See, look at the women on one side. Look at the men on the other side. Look at this. Venus, come on now. Can a woman do? And before I play videos of what made me bring this topic up, I want to just know yes or no. Give me a yes or no, and then tell me why.
No, a woman cannot do everything a man can do. We are definitely made differently, produced differently, hear purpose differently, and we don't function the same, and we should not. We cannot do everything a man can.
Ryan, I didn't ask you to clap. I did not ask you to clap. Okay.
Give it to me. We can't. We cannot.
Okay, because I want to hear from some feminists. Feminists, where are you? Are you trying to tell us, and see, that's another question I'm going to save later. Are you trying to tell us that we have a role that we have to play and we need to stay in that role? Because why can't a woman be everything she wants to be? But I'm going to go back, TK.
Those 2 different questions, though.
2 different questions.
Okay, I'm going to stick even with the men. So, okay, Damon, how about this? Can a woman be, let's change the word. Can a woman be everything that a man is?
No.
No, she can't be a man.
Can I get a yes out of
She can't be a man. She can't be a man.
Okay, positions, jobs.
Oh
Do
yeah,
the
a woman
same
can.
thing.
Yeah, yes, they can. They're running awesome companies right now,
It's a different question.
leading countries. The first thing coming to my mind is Michelle Obama. Can she lead a country? Yes, she can. So yes, women can. There's some things. I believe that the question is broad in terms of it's so many things.
I'm gonna break it down, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, but a
I
company
still,
wide,
I
yes,
still say,
they
I
can run a
still say
country.
no.
They can run a
I
country.
have to
They
disagree.
can run a company, but they cannot do everything a male can do. No, there's no
Right.
way.
So
Even I know you ain't on me, but I got to say this, and I thought I would
Okay.
never say it, but in my maturity and wisdom, and being that single woman who did everything a man can do, but I still cannot do everything a man can do and don't want to.
right.
Feminist, whatever y'all want to call it. We can say, yeah, can I run a company? Yeah. But I don't have the strength of a man. I don't have the testosterone. But if you put me in a position I got the god doggone do it, I'm gonna do it. But I will
Yeah.
never
Okay,
do it
then. But
like a
that
man
means that
can.
you can
But
do
don't
it.
no,
Thank
no,
you, Katrina. She sure
no,
can. With
cannot.
4-inch heels on, to be exact. Yes, she can. Okay, Ryan. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
TK is asking this question with a certain predisposition of what she means in her mind, but the question does not speak to what you want really to speak to. You're saying, can they do everything? And that's everything. And so let's flip it for a second, just to be fair. Can a man do everything a woman could do? No, that's no as well. So what are we talking about, first of all, with everything? If you're talking about in terms of the workforce, if you're talking about in terms of interpersonal skills or leadership, if you're talking about those things, that has nothing to do with your sex. So yes, we can both do the same things. But if you're talking about generally speaking, we're two different creatures that are literally designed and capable of doing different things that we can't fight, we can deny, we can go get, you know, treatments and procedures and all these things to do. But at the end of the day, there are certain things that just cannot be done. A male will never be able to birth a child. You know, you can be a female and call yourself a man and give birth to a child, but a male can't birth a child, just like there's things that females just physically or biologically can't do. You're not talking about that though, are you? You're talking about in terms of culture and society. You're talking about what can we do fair wise, equal wise. And yes, that's what my mom in the 80s as a feminist really fought for, was the opportunity to do the same things that humans were able to do and not just leave it for men to be able to do it. Those things, of course we can. But the question that you asked was, can a woman do everything a man can do? And the blanket statement and answer to that is absolutely no, because that's an everything question. So sorry, it was just a bad question.
So guess what? I actually was just hyping you guys on because I completely agree with you. Shonda was the one like, yes, yes. And I said, Shonda, no, we cannot. But I did that just to hype you guys
You
on.
did good.
I'm a
You
good
did
actress.
good.
Hey, I'm a
That
good
was good.
actress.
That was good.
But I'm gonna get into why later. I'm gonna save my opinion for last. Okay, that was the first question. I wanted to know yes or no from you. Now I want to play a video of what led me to bring up this topic, and I want you to hear about what TD Jakes, Pastor TD Jakes, recently just spoke out about. We are raising women up to be men, and that's a mistake. Let's hear what he has to say.
This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now. Because we are raising up women to be men. And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you are climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families. I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. But until you create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away.
Oh, the more I hear TD Jakes, the more I mess with him, man. Like I've been listening to him a long time, but
did I agree with you that no, we can't be men and do everything that a man can do? However, there are some things that he did say that I question. I'm just sorry. So before I give my opinion, what did you take out of that video, Damon? Damon really
You
thinking.
said Damon, right?
Damon,
He
he
on mute.
thinking.
Dude, I'm
Okay,
like,
okay,
woo.
okay.
He's thinking. Before I give my opinion, unless you guys want me to give my opinion so you can have an
Yeah,
answer.
go ahead, give your opinion. Go ahead.
Okay, but the part that, yes, I completely agree that a woman can't do everything a man can do. But when he made it seem like we have a place to be in the home versus being in corporate America. Did y'all catch that? He said, why are y'all climbing up the corporate ladder?
Yeah,
That's the part when I was like, now, wait a minute, Bishop.
I hear you.
Because are we not supposed to go to work? This is, Ryan, you said this earlier. We are living in different times. There was a time that my grandmother was the stay-at-home wife and she took care of all the kids and the man was the provider. Things have changed. Women are now CEOs, me. Women are now in high positions, me. Women are now in the workforce, me. And I'm still have the wife and the mother and take care of the home. But my question is, are we not supposed to be out there in the workforce?
I don't think it was a supposed to thing. Go ahead, Damon. You want to jump in there?
Yeah, no, and I agree. No. And it goes back to what I said 35, 38 minutes ago. Society it's just society all these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. There is no way I want to be with a young lady where I'm telling her, you're staying at home, I'm going out here doing this. There is no way. I want you to run your 3 businesses, I'm running my 3 businesses. We're going to collaborate on some stuff. We're going to go get this. There's no way. I don't want to be with a female to where back in the day, oh, well, my grandparents ain't do it like that. You said, bye, I don't want to talk to you. I'll see you later. This is not how the real world works today. There is no way you can do this, live like our great grandparents did back in the day. You can't. There's no way in the world. So I believe women should go out there and get it, just like we do. Do not settle for less. I don't believe in that 50-50. I would, and that ruined my first marriage of 50.5 years. Besides, we're going to get into that later about absentees about fathers. But my thing is, I don't believe in that 50-50. I wasn't raised 50-50. If it needs to be done, as far as when my kids were coming up, diaper need to be changed. Oh, it's my turn. It's your turn. My dad heard that from my first wife. He's like, what the hell is going on? It's his turn. The child need to be changed. He took 1 month old. You change it. What do you mean you right next to the baby? So you got to pick this baby up and carry this child over here to her father. Are you kidding me? I don't believe in that. And that's why society and relationships fail in divorces, because they still hooked on back in the day. Oh, by the way, you need to go and do this. You need to do it. It's not right. Let women be women. Let men do their job. I don't think it should be gender roles. No. Do you think I'm going to pull up in front of a gas station and I'm sitting there and my wife is going to pump gas? No. I get all that part. But there's no way we should have gender roles as saying, this is how you should be. Stay at this house. I need you pregnant, in this house cooking. I'm going out here working. You know how many women that's home miserable with kids and husbands 6-7 figures millionaires that I run into every day, and the wife home lonely? Yeah. You know how many I run into? There's no way where I wouldn't even want to be with a young lady and I want you sitting at home. We better get this together.
Yes. Dr. Miller, how do you feel about what the bishop said? Like, did y'all catch? Like, at first, I get it. He was saying women can't be men. But when you start telling us we don't belong in the workforce and going up the, like, it wasn't just me. Or how did you?
I'm going to tell y'all, like my grandma used to tell me, there are things you eat and you just take the bones out, baby. Now, he's
Say it again, Dr. Venus. Say it again, Dr. Miller. What'd you say?
When there's certain things that you eat, you take the bones out because everything don't go together. People can start very well, and I think he's well intended. He's a well-to-do minister, and I am a minister of the gospel. Yeah. And also we have to, in the Bible, it tells you that there are seasons, and this ain't 1902. No, there's 100 given. And the other thing I'm gonna tell y'all, everybody need a dose of MYOB, mind your own business, because you cannot I cannot take my father into our relationship. When we're in a relationship, we gel together. The problem is you got your mama, some of your daddy, and half of your cousin, and all of your best friend, and none of them live there. They don't sleep with the man. They don't sleep with the woman. And so what we first have to do is, when we're in a relationship, the Bible says that if we're going to go scripture, the Bible says you leave your mother and your father.
And your
you
father.
cleave together. And when I cleave with my husband, we doing, maybe I don't want to brush my teeth at 1. I want to brush it at 1:30. But he doing something at 2. When you come together in agreement, the problem with all this is people not minding their business. We throw culture in there, we throw religion in there, and depending on who's the most popular, we rock with it. You better understand and learn. Even if I am with my husband right now, we came here single, really, and we're gonna die that way. When you come together, we come together in commonality with a common goal, keeping people out your business so you can build the team that you have and leave your lineage. What the problem is, we taking grandma ministry, my friend stuff, and we try to put in our relationships, telling people what to do. You ain't sleeping with that man, you don't know what position you even in. Excuse me for being so bold. But what I'm trying to say is, what in the tea in China got to do it now? If I decide, like Damon said, if I want my woman, you got 3 business, I got 3 business. Let's put them together, baby, we got 6. But when you have people not walking together and agreeing based on what their mama, daddy, other cousin, and the minister said, we got separation. Divorce comes, and the people ain't there no way. You got to go start that foolishness off with somebody else. Every time we're in a divorce, it just simply means that 2 people could not agree on how we going to get this money. So it's 2 mature people coming together. Allow and you have to set the pace for your own relationship. You decide what come in your vessel. You decide what go out. You decide how much gossip you want it or how much garbage you want in it. You have to have 2 mature people thugging for one another. Nobody's more important in that relationship. And if it's just you, it's no more important than you and God and whoever you believe in. That must be right. That way people can't infect you. We are infected because we ourselves are not secure in what we're doing. So this is not about TD Jake saying, oh, a woman can't do this. Listen, I can do any goddamn thing I want to do. But that don't believe mean that I did it as well as the male. I'm doing it because I have to. If I got to change a tire, I do. But if I'm going to break a goddamn nail, be dirty, and I'm tired. But if I got to, I will. I prefer the man to do it. I prefer him to take out the garbage. I do the garbage. But what I'm saying is we got an attitude. Last thing I'm gonna say, it's the attitude that some women possess about their power. I got 7, 9, I don't know how many degrees I have, but nothing beats a presentation. Nobody want a rich, nasty, foul, nothing. So I don't care how much money you got. I don't care who you are. If you don't come into that agreement with your own self, you can be the hardest feminist or the slowest man. You got to come into who you are as your own. Stop letting people impact you and stop letting all this dumping in.
Yes.
It's about that.
Yes.
You're right. No more blame. No more. Oh, damn it! Let you know, damn it. I'm a woman. I can. Look how you sound.
I don't need you. I don't need
right.
you.
It don't sound right. Yeah, I can elevate. Yeah, I might get the same job as a man, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. I love what I do, but there is something about the male presence. I am not trying to take away from me. Come on. I run my junk. I run it flat. But all I need is one male to come, and he is the king. We got to get this thing right. I am the queen, but when we come together, we rocking. It's when the king is against the queen. So when the king come in, he come to set order. It's not changing. It's not changing. I can set order, but there is a male presence. Is how he's birthed to bring it. Look how much fighting you got to do. If I line up 5 men and 5 women, I don't care how much I lift. I don't care how much waste I lift, men on this live right now. I will never look like a man lifted unless I take something. But as a natural woman, I can have some cuts. But no man normally want to lay next to a man, another man, which is a woman with muscles, and vice versa. No woman want to lay on a man who ain't solid. Come on. Let's just be who we are. Embrace whatever we're doing, but give that man his props. Give that woman
absolutely.
His props. And let's
let a man be a man.
Let's cut that out. It ain't no feminist and who preaching and how many. What does it matter if I'm a millionaire, you a millionaire? What, we gonna be mad because you a millionaire too? So I think we just lost, and because women have not, I'm gonna get off this horse. Women have not been in power so long and bit by the wrong man. When you rise up, you rise like a man, then you become a BI. And that's why the respect goes. You can have the same respect with power and authority without dominating.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Thank you. Ryan, I have a specific question for you.
Real quick before you ask it. Sure. There's so much truth in everything that Damon said, that Dr. Miller just said. There's so much truth that was said here. I just want to say about what we just heard, because I didn't get a chance to comment on TD Jakes. I just kind of said that more I hear of him. I'm a big fan of context. And I think that with the gospel, especially when someone's delivering a word, I think the context is very important to understand. And what I heard technically what he said, and I did hear the corporate ladder thing, what you said, TK, and technically you could have a little beef with that. It's like, technically speaking, what are you saying? But what I heard and what I think TD was speaking to was family and community as a whole, and why it may be disintegrating because of where we're putting our priorities, or maybe even pressuring women to do things that men are doing, even if the women don't really want to do that. So I did a whole podcast on it. I'm going to put the link, shameless plug here.
Yeah,
the link in the
share it with everybody.
I did a whole podcast on creating a society, or creating a generation of anxious young women. And it was, a lot of it had to do with putting pressures on young women to do and be things that men are doing just because we have the opportunity for them to do it now. It's not to say they shouldn't have the opportunity, but we're not waiting to see what the women want to do themselves. So these young girls grow up thinking they have to, quote, be men. And you know what I mean by that in a sense, without finding out what they want to do. So we're pushing them to do these things that for centuries they haven't been able to do, and now they can, but we're not really finding out, do they want to be at home and rather cook or be caretakers? Is that what they want to do? We're not even allowing a lot of them to do that, so they grow up anxious because they don't want to be doing this stuff, fighting for this and pushing for this. And not every woman wants to work up that corporate ladder, first of all, because they're smart and intelligent, because who the hell wants to work 75 hours a week and never go home? You're different, TK, and you
No,
are
I don't
different.
want to. I really want to just be home.
Correct. But that's the point here. There's men, and we could talk about this topic for quite some time, because we could get into different traits between men and women and some of the reasons why you see there's a tendency for some careers to be more dominant by men, some careers to be more dominant by female, and it has nothing to do with cultural preferences. They've done studies that have taken that out of it, but that's a different conversation. The point is, we're pressuring, I think TD said, we're pressuring women at a young age to do something maybe that they might not normally do, or go in a field in the direction they might not normally go to. And that is having a trickle down effect to the family core and the community. If everybody's doing corporate work, nobody's doing caretaking work. And the answer to that is, well, let's flip it and let's tell dads to stay home. Well, I'm sorry, but if you line up, if you take a poll and you look at the general majority of men, there are some men who will stay home and are great caretakers, and they might prefer that. But across the board, they're not going to feel fulfilled or validated in a sense if they're not producing or working or doing something. This is not my opinion. This is documented. But I think that leads to what we see, and it's a bigger conversation. But with TD Jakes, I think that he was speaking not technically, but generally about what might be contributing to the deterioration of the core and the family, what's it called? What's that word for the core? The nucleus of the family, the nuclear family. Yeah. I think that might be what he was speaking to. And I talked about, I had like 8 or 9 points as to things we need to be concerned about that might be causing young girls, especially, anxiety in today's day and age. I put the link in there if you want to listen to that podcast.
We would definitely, guys. He shared the link. Ryan has his own YouTube channel, and he speaks about these things. So feel free to reach out to him. Make sure you take a look at it. What was
that question? You said you had a question.
You actually answered it. Okay. You actually. I wanted to know, as women, do we have a specific role to stay in, and leading?
I think by sorry to cut you off. I think that sounds demeaning and degrading, and almost sounds authoritarian. I don't look at it as a role that you should stay in. I look at it as a strength that you possess.
Come on now. So I totally agree with you, but then there are some people, like Dr. Miller said, and to each his own. Whatever works for you works for you. But there are some men who don't want their wives to go and work. They look at them to want to stay home. You take care of the family. You take care of the household. So guess what? That is what you need to go after, that type of woman. You guys need to be aligned.
I think Damon will agree. That might speak more to what's going on with the man, his insecurities, or maybe what he was learned and taught and raised and saw.
Or how was it? Or what if it goes back to how he was raised?
Yeah, exactly. So that would make sense. It doesn't mean it's actually right. It just means that's what he's comfortable with. And so there are females who were trained and raised to do the opposite. And so that can happen. So it might work. But I think we're living in a society today that women like my mom and fought for the opportunities to be there. But you got to remember, guys, just because we all, and ladies, just because we all have equal opportunities doesn't mean we're going to gravitate to things equally. And that's what they found in the studies that were done in egalitarian societies. They leveled the playing field. There were no social pressures to be nurses or scientists. And what they found was when given a choice, in general, the men chose a dominant field that you would stereotypically call a male field, and the females chose. This was not a social pressure. This was just what they chose when given the opportunity, because it was more in line with their natural traits and strengths. But again, deeper conversations, these things are not all socially constructed, is really what my underlying point here is. And roles, that sounds authoritarian, and that sounds a little barbaric in today's day and age. And anybody who's talking about what you should do, that's a different conversation than what you can do, what your strengths are, and how we can be stronger if you do that and I do this. And there's give and take, but generally speaking.
Absolutely. To end this conversation, I want to play a video to ask the last question that I have about, can a woman do what a man can do? Let's take a look.
Would you give a young lady wanting to become president of the United States?
Well, I hope we do have a young lady at some point become president of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president, and the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die. And the woman will become president under the law.
Did y'all catch that?
Yo, that's Gerald Ford, right? That's Ford?
Wait, that was Ford. Former
70s?
President Ford. Now, if this took place in the 80s,
I hope Biden didn't see that.
I want you guys to take this back to where we are now. Did y'all catch? It's not going to come. So my question is, do you guys ever think we will ever have a woman running this country? And then when you saw that video, this was predicted back in the 80s.
70s.
70s, you're right, the late 70s. Ford actually came out and said, is it going to happen? Yes, but I don't think it's going to happen the regular, like that person's not going to be elected, but the president is going to die.
Jesus.
And then the vice president. I want y'all to hear it right here on Talk Miami. If we see Kamala Harris become the president due to Biden, I want you to know that it went live right here on Talk Miami first.
Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Lord,
that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? So my question to you to end this topic, and we'll go around the room. Dr. Miller, do we think we would ever see a woman running this country? Yes or no, and why?
Yes, of course. I'm going to say yes, because I believe anything is possible, just like we see the vice president now. That prediction blew me away. But I don't take anything out of possibilities, because as we grow and as we move and as we do certain things, of course, and it may not happen as normally, like you said, I don't think it will be a direct hit either when I'm looking at it, but a day will come, and how it's going to come, I don't know. I hope I'm alive to see it, but a day will come that there will be a woman president, and we'll move from there. Being a woman president can be amazing. It's going to come with some stuff.
Yeah.
But just like we never had a vice president that was African American, right? Yeah. So no, I'll never say anymore what will never be. Just like we had a black president, we didn't think that either. So I just go with the times. What will be will be. You don't know what's going to happen, but I do think it's a possibility. Absolutely.
Now, with your answer, Damon, yes or no, and do you think we have the emotional and mental capacity to not make decisions based on our emotions? First of all, is your answer yes or no?
Yes. For me, it's yes.
Okay.
I'm with Dr. Miller. Anything is possible, and I believe where our world is headed is the unknown. We don't know. Is it possible? I strongly believe that it's possible. Females, as far as the emotional and mental capacity, I still believe they can make solid decisions as leaders, just like men can. We have mental, emotional, physical issues, and we've seen over the years what our presidents and men can do. Women can do it, still being emotional and mental. Yeah, I believe so, most definitely.
Ryan.
Absolutely. The question was, will we ever see a woman that's elected president? Not this
Or just
prophecy.
be the president. Now, how they make it, like President Ford said, he thinks it's going to go that way, not the natural form.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna tell you, if it's gonna go the way Ford said it's gonna go that way with this current situation, unfortunately. And I hope it doesn't, for Biden's sake. I'm not wishing death upon him, but Ford's talking about, I think this is what good Lord, that was crazy. So
if he predicted, and if it comes true, you heard it right here on Talk crazy. Miami first.
Yeah, for sure. I can't believe that hasn't gone viral just yet. But I want to just not speak to the by default become president. I think that my answer is yes. So I think that one day in this country, if we preserve this country and we keep this country and we do what we can to keep and make this country strong and improve this country and the areas that we need to improve it upon, and we keep on a positive trajectory, I think absolutely we could see a female elected president. But here's the reason why I think that. And I think it was Gloria, a great point. We already had a woman win the majority of the popular vote in a runoff election in an election for presidency. But technically that doesn't count. But just the point is that we're right there. They're right there already. I think the reason why we'll see a woman elected president has to do with the fact that we're having more and more qualified candidates in both parties. Mm-hmm. So it won't even be an accidental or a biased thing. I think we have qualified candidates in both parties that now can get in the mix, in the running, and who knows what party it'll be from. But I think that it could be a female absolutely elected. And this idea that a woman's not fit, sure, there are some differences when we look at neurobiology, when we look at hormones and we look at brain chemistry. There are absolutely differences in males and females, but do those translate to being a problem in being commander in chief? I don't think so. I think there's enough people around the president and enough things going on that won't be as much of an issue as people like to make it. It's going to be odd and strange and weird. And it also has to do with, maybe there's a different conversation, looking at the male as the head of the household, that old stereotypical view. We look at the country maybe similarly, and the feeling of having a woman as the head of the household, aka the head of the country, like that might be odd, but I encourage people not to look at it that way. Look at the most qualified, fit candidate that can contribute to the country, has everyone's best interest at heart, and works well with the people around her or him. That's your candidate.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we had a great show today. Like, oh my God, it was so deep. I'm even hearing all the comments that this was deep. I just cannot thank you guys enough for tonight. What great topics. And audience, we want to hear from you. If there's some topics that you would love for us to talk about, please send it in the chat, or you can go ahead and email us at talkmiamishow@gmail.com. And let me go ahead and give my final thoughts, and then I want to quickly turn it over to Dr. Miller and Damon to close out the show. So TK, do you think that women can do everything that a man can do? And my answer is no, because we were not created and designed to do so. Remember, God made man, and then out of man, he made woman. And so when I rephrased the question and I said that women can do everything that a man can't. So we are the ones that can bear the children. Wherever my husband falls short is my strength. And wherever I fall short, he's my strength. And that's the reason why we are good together. And that's the way that God designed us. We are not placed on this earth to become a man and do what a man can do. Now, of course, we're living in times when there's transgender, and I respect that. That's not where I'm going, but it's to answer the question. We were just not designed to do so. I know I had you guys hyped earlier. I just wanted to play devil's advocate just to see what you were going to say. But I knew my answer was no, because I know that's not our role. And I guess we are talking about roles because I am a woman. The one thing that a man can't do is be a woman and be a mother. So that's my role here on this earth. So that's what I wanted to say. And I just want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. Remember that you can follow us on all social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We go live every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please, guys, we want more followers. That's how we get more recognition out there. Make sure you share this link with all of your friends and family. And then after this show, our podcast, like tonight's show, will be live for you on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple and Google Podcasts. And you guys can follow us right at Talk Miami Talk Show. What a great show. And I usually end the show with a positive Monday motivation, but instead, I'm going to turn it over to our guest. So, Dr. Miller, what would you say to our audience to take us out?
I will say to you, from my woman's point of view, embrace who you are. Embrace what you are born on this earth to do. If you're a male or female, we are important to one another. There is no reason to compare. There's no reason to fight. When we come together, we're strong, man. We're strong together. And I want us to be reminded of who we are. We're so powerful. And when we come together, that's when things happen. When we separate and fight, it just falls apart. So just simply embrace you. Embrace how God made you. And walk the thing out and bring the positive to a situation. I love my brother when he always changes that negative, Mr. Ryan, to a positive. That's how we speak. Yes, women can do a lot of things. Yes, men can do a lot of things, but none of us are each other. I empower and impact them, and we come to embrace you. My name is Dr. Venus Miller. Just hit me, Venus Miller on Facebook, if you want to talk to me, and or Instagram.
Thank you. Damon, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh, again, I thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. I've watched a lot of you guys' shows on Mondays. I'm going to put it out there. This has been one of the most powerful episodes.
Right.
I'm honest. I'm just going to keep it real. I appreciate Ron. I appreciate you, TK, Dr. Miller. You guys are awesome people, adding your knowledge to the forefront of what's going on and what the topics are. And it's very important. And I tell people, you have to do what works for you. What works for you in your home, what works for you and your children, what works for you in your relationship. Keep people out of your business, and we cannot continue to live in the past.
Yeah.
I'm leave with that. I am Damon Thomas. I am an author, ghostwriter, producer, director, creator of the Men Encourage program. And my program, what we do, we offer a lot of intense therapy, dealing with trauma. We do 80% men and 20% women. We're now branching out in Texas within the next couple of months, where we're going to be doing more women out there in McKinney, Texas. We're going to keep spreading the word about mental health, about depression, about trauma. I'm Men Encourage on Facebook. I'm the Men Encourage Show on Instagram. I'm Damon Thomas on Facebook. And I'm here for you guys. Just let me know. And I'll see you guys the end of September.
That's right.
First, my birthday. I can't wait to meet you guys when I get there. If I see you, excited. I appreciate you.
Ryan, you are actually the host of Shonda's Pain to Purpose Ball, and that's Damon's birthday. He's coming down. He's also one of the speakers, so you guys will get to meet each other. We will all be there to support our sister. Dr. Shonda couldn't make it back, but she will be here next week. Guys, I also forgot to mention Cindy. She had a show tonight, so she can't be here, but everybody will be back next week. So same channel, same time. Ryan, what do you want to say to take us out as well?
We're on our way out. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I can't even echo enough what Dr. Miller said and what Damon said as well. It's always a privilege to hold this space with you all. I think I agree with Damon. It's a powerful show tonight because it's a topic that needs to be spoken about. It needs to be continued to be talked about. And there's not a lot of spaces right now where people will actually listen to each other and actually talk about these things. But I totally agree with everything that was said here in terms of what we need to do what's best for us and for our families. I was going to say earlier, one of the reasons why I don't have children yet, one of the reasons is because that I know once I have children, it's about them, not me.
Yes.
That's it. Yes. And I don't think that attitude really is as prevalent as it needs to be. When you become a parent, you're a parent first. Of course, you have to take care of yourself or else you're useless for your child. But that mentality, I just don't see it around as often as we need to. So great show from all of you all. Thank you all for joining us and filling in for our hosts. And again, I look forward to next week as I always do every week.
Yes. And with that being said, everyone, we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye, everybody.
All right, ladies.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Wanna live with you.
I want to
everybody.
Photoshop that outro